Good morning and welcome to the 15th episode of Ready Row USA. It's allegedly spring here in the Northeast, and we did have one 80-degree day, so we're all happy about that. We're continuing our weekly broadcasts featuring the best of rowing news, gadgets and gear, gifts and clothing and that kind of thing from clubs, coaches, vendors, and rowers like you across the country. And sometimes we sneak in a few other countries because we like their stuff too. But this is one of our more popular segments. I don't know, we're all sort of like gadget freaks, right, Tara?
Oh, totally.
We admit it. I am your host and producer, Charlotte Pierce. Our studio producer is Nancy Diessner. Thank you, Nancy. You're the best. You're helping us so much. Anything that looks professional here is probably Nancy's fault. So we are happy to have her. And we both proudly row out of community rowing in Boston, Massachusetts. We are part of the Ready Row USA is part of the International Rowing.Chat network. And we invite you to visit the website at RRUSA. Let's see. Yeah, we've got the screen share. To receive notifications of upcoming shows, you can subscribe, and we appreciate our new subscribers this week. Send in the news tips. You can share your favorite rowing-related gadgets, gear, and gifts, as I mentioned. And we have a really great community growing here. Growing, get it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the laughter. I'm just waiting for the laughter. Anyway, it's really cool to see how the podcast and, the community is sort of building around it. And we're getting lots of people writing in and subscribing. And I just think it's cool. I just love having the input and just making these connections between people in this huge country of ours.
Well, I think as rowers, we're not only gadget nerds, we're also really in tune with the community of rowing. So we're always looking for other people to nerd out with.
Always. And we nerd out even when we're not on the podcast. So.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure. I'll let you introduce yourself in a second. But first, I wanted to mention our sponsors, who make it possible, in addition to Nancy and Rebecca, for us to put on this podcast. Just Strong is a great athletic clothing brand for women. Mind Games is a book by Annie Vernon. It's for the elite rower, but many tips and strategies within it are totally applicable to people like us and your mom who rows. So get Annie's book. And then the Rose and Thorn Active Bras, they've been a sponsor for a few weeks now, and they are fabulous. If you want to bring confidence into the boat, wear a Rose and Thorn Active Bra. I just highly recommend them. So thank you for those three sponsors and the others that are lining up. Now we're going to take a look at some of the gadgets and gear that are sent in by our viewers and contributors like Tara. Tara, first, before we get started on that, why don't you just give us the elevator speech about what you do? We've had you on before, but people might not remember.
Yeah, I think most circles know me as the founder and head coach of Seize the Oar Foundation here in Seattle, Washington. We're in the Pacific Northwest, and we are the primary provider of para and adaptive rowing opportunities in the Pacific Northwest. We partner a lot with Canada and then some folks in Northern California for some sort of collegial knowledge, getting together and nerding out over things like para and adaptive. Mm-hmm. And then one of my specialties and what I love, and I just actually taught my first class of the season last night, is Masters Learn to Row, which might get poo-pooed by your fancy schmancy coaches, but Learn to Row for Masters is one of the most transformative, awesome experiences to teach and be a part of. So I'm excited to start a new cohort last night of 13 people here on Vashon Island.
Excellent.
Yeah, sold out class. It was great. So
I am so into that. I try to encourage them when I see them at CRI, you know, because, you know, I know there's like this curve where you may or may not continue with rowing, but you want to kind of make sure people get encouraged. And so
I think I'm going to be coming back and talking about Learn to Row a little bit closer to National Learn to Row Day, and really, you know, fly the flag.
Yeah, we're going to have you on next week talking about Learn to Row, and Learn to Row Day is June 1st, which
and I just want to
doesn't mean that's the only day you can do it, right?
Totally. Yeah, I just want to make a little plug. I've been running a Facebook page that's been gaining a lot of momentum lately myself, called Learn to Row, and it's intended for coaches and newbies to really connect about some of the basic skills and how to coach and how to promote and how to retain your Learn to Row folks. So check out this Facebook page. It's called Learn to Row.
Cool.
Yeah, and send your posts.
Yeah, I've been trying to send people there. One little thing, if you could tip your camera up a little bit so we get don't get your head clipped off. Perfect.
Great.
That sounds good. Okay. So we're going to take a look at some of the gadgets and gear and tips and tricks and hacks that have been sent in by viewers and contributors. One of my favorites is this thing. This was sent in by Allison Antrobus. And it's just like it typifies the, you know, rowing gadget that could make, you know, just fun. It's a spacer wrench, and Allison had found one somewhere, and I can't find. We were on Masters Rowing International. We couldn't even find it anywhere. Have you?
Yeah, so
I got one. Oh
I borrowed these from a teammate. One from my coach and one from my teammate this morning. And I'll tell you, at my old boathouse, there's actually ones with wooden handles. The cool thing about this one is that it's also 7/16 right here. So if you have to make a last minute change on the water, she also attached this to a whistle, which is a great combination of safety and functionality. So
where do you get these? I mean, is this like,
JL, I've run a JL booth before at a regatta, and they actually have buckets of these sometimes. So that's a spot we could talk to Jolene and see if we could get a bunch of these. But
so it's so weird. Nancy and I couldn't, like, we did a Google search and we couldn't find it.
Yeah, we could talk to JL. I know I've seen buckets of them at the JL booth.
Think of the manicures that could be saved.
Totally.
Yeah. I don't want to chip. Anyway, that was kind of like that really grabbed me. And then we were going to go on. Maybe these are some that you suggested, Tara. I think Oxy Hood, an altitude. Oh, is this for conditioning? Oxy Hood?
I've never seen that. Oh, these are mine right here.
Yeah. Okay. So stroke. Okay.
So I like to call these old fart tools, old fart gadgets. And they're things like pogies, alarm clock, a good alarm clock, the spacer tool. I also brought with me today something that we used. I mentioned a tennis ball, and this is for saving your riggers from scratching each other. And this is a device that was designed, I think every boathouse has some version of rigger protection from getting dings. And this is the one from Vashon. So if people want to make one, you just cut up a tennis ball, tie a stretchy thing, and this goes over your rigger and your top nut. And
I've got one of those on when I put my single on the boat, I put one on the rigging that goes wax the top of the car when I'm trying.
Yeah, let me just show that one more time. So you see how they tied the knot inside, they punctured it, and there's a knot, and it's exactly, this is about 5 inches total from one end to the other. Yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of have to, like, when you're tying them, you have to sort of calculate the length and stuff, but the string, but cool. Yeah, that's a good one. I like the cheap ones, because there's plenty of things you can spend your money on. That's for sure, but the cheap ones that make your life better are just great. What's the next one that you were going to highlight there?
So one of the things I've personally never used, but I find that a lot of people like to use is the Pogi. You know, when it's below 50 degrees outside, water temperature, if you got a backsplasher in your boat, especially. And there's a lot of people out there that are making them by hand. One person is Jennifer Huffman, the famous granddaughter of Joe Rance from The Boys in the Boat, out here in the Northwest. And she actually has a Pogi company. What's cool about hers is that they're a combination of fleece, and then the other side is a waterproof layer. And these can be sweep or scull. I've never personally used them, but I've heard that they really save those hands, especially the folks who row who have that Raynaud's syndrome, which I find a lot of people have, where their fingers go white. They can't get their hands to warm up. So I found that the Pogies can really provide.
That's a good point. When I know people use Pogies, and I sort of panic when I have to put them on or move something, or like, I don't know what it is. I just don't like my hands encumbered. But I know.
My other one is that I don't know if there's people out there doing water launches. We do a water launch here on Vashon Island. We don't have a dock. We walk in, and it's also briny, salt water. It's pretty gnarly. Our boats have the shoes built in, and so we buy these thermal swim socks like this. We're also walking on a beach, and so we wear often Crocs or slip-on like Tiva type of shoes on top of these, and then we actually row in these because they actually keep our feet warmer. Even
if they're wet.
Yeah, because the water is actually in. Sometimes it gets inside there, so it's basically like a thermal layer.
Yeah. I got scuba socks, but they're not that tall.
Yeah, these are the ones that I have. I really like these with walking on the beach, and you got to rinse them out though. They get super, super stinky, like gross.
You might want to get a few pairs.
A little known fact about those is that you can actually put them in the washer. So,
oh, cool. Yeah, great. What do we have up next? We have some like a little clock down there.
Yeah. So my last one was, the rower's best friend is a really good alarm clock. My theory is you got to change up your alarm every, season or so. Either change the time that you're setting it for. This is for our early morning folks. I like the theory of, putting a new sound on or doing it 5 minutes earlier or 5 minutes later. We are all excited to get up and row. But let's be real. Like, you stayed up too late watching the Game of Thrones final, and you got.
I know it has happened. It has happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether it's your iPhone or your iPad or your old school clock, you got to love it. You got to have a love relationship with the alarm clock. So. Yeah.
I mean, this is just me, but I have no problem waking up. In fact, I wish I could sleep in more, but that's not my thing.
No, I'm totally trained now. 4:45. That's it.
Yeah. It's so you basically have to go to bed no matter what at night because.
So what else did people submit? This is great.
Yeah, we've got some other things here. Nancy, you want to stick up the next? How do you feel about gloves?
I used to be in the camp of no for the gloves. But then I had a Learn to Row student who was an esthetician. She did facials. And then I've had ones that are massage therapists, and their hands have to be perfect. And so I really like the Crew Stop gloves, but I see you've got these Rotex. I think it's about feel. When I teach Learn to Row, I usually tell people, if you're worried about your hands, do that. I've also had a gentleman take the class who had skin cancer on the top of his hand from being exposed to the sun too much, which we all need to worry about, obviously, in rowing. Top of your hands. I put the 50 zinc oxide on there, but the glove could also be a good protector against something like that. There's the Crew Stop gloves. Yeah, they're real soft, like lammy kind of material.
Yeah, those are like 4 pairs, and I'm always losing them, but I'm always finding another pair that I've stuffed somewhere.
Yeah, you got to get them.
That's a good point about the skin cancer.
Yeah.
As the sun gets more direct here in the Northeast and the Northwest as well, but you want to. I always forget, even if it's cold. I think, well, I'm not going to get a sunburn, but that's not.
Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that until I met this gentleman who was, he was in his 70s taking learn to row. Whoop, whoop. And he had a big bout of cancer on his back of his hands from being outside and gardening a lot. So I like the crew stop. I see a lot of people nowadays wearing the crew stop, especially if they're scullers. Yeah, the sweepers, not so much the gloves, but the scullers.
Yeah, the especially beginning of the season where, like you're getting your blisters and they haven't become calluses yet. I just wanted to mention the next, Nancy, we have some, I'm trying to follow the slides here, but Stroke Side Designs, they're going to be, we all know their jewelry. I send the link to my husband whenever my birthday comes up. So it's kind of fun to have some jewelry that's, related to your sport. And then people say, oh, what do you do?
It also makes gift giving very easy. Yes,
I'm always needing more. So, and then we mentioned the Oxy Hood before. This is an altitude training simulator. It's just a hood, I think, and probably pumps oxygen in or something, or out, and encourages your, I don't know. I'm not an expert on this, but blood to bring on more oxygen. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. So we'll have to look into that and put it. Any of these things we're going to put it in the show notes. We'll put links to them. So don't fear if you've lost track of it. The Rigger Jigger wrench with a lanyard is a very popular item, and somehow I've managed to not put that in my kit yet. I need to just stick it in my dry bag.
So my hot tip for those is when you go to regattas and you're one of 50 people rigging and re-rigging boats, the lanyard is really good to hook all this onto a lanyard, but also putting your name on it with nail polish and a Sharpie. And this is actually done in Vashon blue, right? The other one is you can do electrical tape in your team colors. So at Canterbury Rowing, we had blue and yellow electrical tape for our team colors, and then with the Sharpie.
And when they vanished, did they come back because they were named?
Well, the Rigger Jigger ferry, make sure that happens. Come on back.
The ferry, yeah. Do they put them under your pillow or something, right?
Totally. It's my favorite thing to tell the Learn to Row students, to tell their families to put in their stocking for their first Christmas as a rower.
Absolutely. I just like, and then when you can help people. Like I've gone to these rigging, work parties, and the person with the wrench gets to do the work. So,
yeah.
Boy,
and you have to know which ones you get, and oftentimes you can look on the manufacturer's website. So like Vespoli or Polcock is going to be the 7/16 and the 1/2 inch, and then if you have like Wintex, like we do for para, we do 10 mil. It's a different setup. So
yes, absolutely, good point.
Yeah,
Nancy, let's go to the next. I want to mention Mike Davenport's book. We've got a few more minutes here. And the fact that Mike Davenport will be on Ready Row USA he's the Max rigging guy, and he's going to be on June 19th with Mark Wilson, our other correspondent, doing a episode on careers in rowing, which Tara could probably also speak to.
Totally, I've managed to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a privilege, and it's so fun to kind of figure out ways to help people while you're, making the necessary income you need to live. So Mike is a good example of that, and he's got a book on rigging, which is basically, everyone I know has a copy, except, I think I have a Kindle copy maybe. But he's a genius, and he gives workshops all over the country, and I'm really excited to be talking with him. And Mark Wilson is he's our correspondent here, and runs the All-American Rowing Camps. And
and
he also reps for AccuDoc, which is really nice doc.
Nice.
If you're if you're a sculler, that you need a certain level or distance to the water or lack of distance. So
I think there needs to be a little bit of collaboration though in this country between Parks Department permit offices and rowers, because a whole dock was just built for a new boathouse here in Pacific Northwest, and it was built too high. It can't be used for rowing shells. It's completely unusable. It's $100,000 down the tube because the Parks Department was like, no, this is what a dock is supposed to be, and not realizing that rowing shells can really get damaged doing that.
Yeah, I mean, Nancy and I row out on the Concord River in Carlisle, and they had a nice little funky dock, and we could get our boats in. And then they decided to improve it, and it was just nothing but like it was like 4 feet off, or 3 feet maybe. It was for the fishing boats, and that's nice for them, but we have to wet launch there now. But
are we going to go back to that new oar that was just posted yesterday?
Yes. I want you to tell us something. Tell us what you think of that.
What is that? I saw this awesome girl with the Australia hat. I was like, I love the Australians. They're always doing cool, fun stuff. But the bumpy edge oar.
Well, it was posted somewhere. I saw someone had on Facebook, I think, on the Masters Rowing group.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, okay. There might be something to that. What do you think?
Well, I wonder, obviously it's about water flow and velocity. We know what somebody could do. They could take an oar that they're going to pitch out, a couple oars they're going to pitch out maybe, and just take a Dremel tool to it and kind of try to create that.
Just to test it. Apparently at this, she won some prize, and she was she was talking about it, but she also demonstrated it.
That's fantastic.
And people were commenting, it maybe make like slight little edge of a difference. Who knows? But I don't know. It's kind of fun to try. I like to try that.
Who knows what precipitates these gadget innovations and things. And I think getting more and more like a fish, might be more
that's what they do with there's a lot of application of animal, aero and thermodynamics in sports equipment. Biking, and there is.
It makes sense. If you draw inspiration from the marine life, in your area, we here in Vashon have whales and seals and all sorts of things. You can definitely glean from, their sleek exterior, their the way that they move through the water. But propulsion, the oar aspect of it, totally makes sense. Those are fins, essentially.
Well,
right?
Humpbacks apparently do pretty well with their fins. So, and this is the part of the podcast where we want to talk forever, but we have to wrap it up and give people a chance to go on with their day. So we appreciate everyone's watching, and we also wanted to get an episode hashtag going.
Great.
Tara. So I know you had one 2 weeks ago.
I did.
And who can you tell us who won that one and what they're going to win?
So the wonderful folks over at Spokane River Rowing Association, Marnie, is great. She's spends a lot of time being really active online, and they post some really great videos of their new athletes and folks in the locale that they are. A lot of people wouldn't think rowing and Spokane, Washington, but it's definitely happening out there. So she's going to win. If she wants to come over to Vashon, she'll win a little private session getaway here to Vashon Island. So come on out and visit.
Nice. Yeah, I might join her. I might just lurk behind Marnie. But anyway, do you want to give us a hashtag for today, or same prize or different prize or something? Maybe something for inclusive or something. I don't know. How about inclusive?
Yeah, let's do hashtag inclusive. Always a good thing. Always, always, always.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I spelled it right.
Be it, do it, more.
So one more what?
Be it, do it, more. Inclusive. For sure.
Yeah. So we're going to do RRUSA inclusive. And what you do is you use it in your social media with the watch link, which if you're watching this, you can just grab that URL from the top of the address bar and post those two things together, and we will search, we will find you, and we will award you prize for watching to the end. So many thanks, and thank you for providing that, Tara. You're the best.
Thanks. So happy to be here. This is great.
Yeah, and like I said, you've agreed to be our regular correspondent for the West Coast and inclusive and Learn to Row and all those good things that you're involved in. So we are
West Coast.
Yeah, well, I have to agree because I am, after all, from Spokane and Seattle. So there you go. And we also have a rowing club news form, or you can send in your individual news as well. So that'll be in the show notes, as well as the gadgets and gear form. So if you want us to cover one of the gadgets that you love, please use the form, show notes, or where that's at. And we appreciate the items that have been coming in, because this is like stuff we don't always just find in our daily routine. So the production credits are, I'm the host and producer. Mark Wilson and Tara are correspondents. Rebecca Caroe is our executive producer, and Rowing.Chat has many other types of rowing related podcasts and special programs. So check that out at rowing.chat. Probably something I've forgotten. Oh, yeah, our correspondents' websites. All American Rowing Camp is Mark Wilson's. He'll be with us next week, I think, or the week after. Tara, of course. Is that you in that picture, Tara?
No, ma'am. That is one half of Team Tiny Mighty, who have the course record on the Charles, arms and shoulders rowing.
Oh, that's amazing. That is
she and her partner, Amy Brodsky, rowed it 2 years ago, and 32 minutes, 34 seconds just using their arms. Get it.
That is not much slower than
I know.
For full body. That's impressive. That is really impressive.
Yeah.
And then my publishing company, I'm currently accepting proposals for alternative education, including innovative approaches to coaching and learning rowing. So if anybody has ideas for that. We have, again, thank our sponsors for making this podcast possible. Just Strong, Annie Vernon, author, and Rose and Thorn Active Bras. And I know I'm talking fast, but we have some great shows coming up. Catching a Career in Rowing. We have Club Management with John Iruratagoyana. An amazing name. Kevin John. I think it's Kevin John Iruratagoyana. Anyway, he's going to be talking about club management and some of the challenges in big, medium, and small rowing clubs, and scheduling, and just all the craziness that happens at a rowing club. There's some really good platforms.
Chaos.
Chaos. We love it. Yeah, right. So we have those, and again, you'll find that in the show notes. And many thanks to everyone. Nancy, if I've forgotten anything, yeah. Socks. What socks?
Oh, we talked about the socks. That's what those were.
That was before. Yeah. But we actually found some socks that say rowing on them. So they're not like thermal or anything. They're just great. But they're fun. All right. Thank you again. We'll be back every Wednesday at 11. Mostly we do a live show like this. So thank you for forgiving our little bobbles and mumbles. But we appreciate everyone who comes, and thank you, Tara, for being our expert on the ground there in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Yeah. We'll see you next week
See ya.
for Learn to Row. Bye.
Yeah.